Hey folks, this is Billy DKY, the truth seeker that simplifies and demystifies. This is going to be my second episode of following the way of growth applications. It's going to be mixed martial arts training. The first thing I'd like to do is try to talk you out of fighting altogether, because injuries last a lifetime. The older you get, the more you're going to feel those injuries, and you're going to wish you probably hadn't have done the fighting when you was younger. I've never met anybody that's an old person that said, boy, I wish I'd have fought more because those injuries didn't mean a thing when I was younger. So that's the ultimate wisdom I'd like to give you on fighting. But if you can't do it, if you say, you know what, man, I don't care, man, I'm young, I want to live a little bit, I want to fight. It's my destiny to fight. Okay, so be it, that fight. I wouldn't stop anybody from what they want to do. However, if you are going to fight, you need to do it as smart as you possibly can. So that's what this video is all about, is to help you do that the most effective way, to be the best fighter you possibly can be. This is not going to be arm bars and that kind of talk. This is going to be the stuff, the mental stuff, that and the way you should train. So let's get started. First principle is baby steps. When you're training, you shouldn't be seeking big gains in any one session of training. You should be seeking little bitty real changes within yourself that don't fade away the next time you come into the gym. Techniques. Don't try to learn a bunch of techniques in one day. Just baby step it. Just try to make real progress in your techniques. Opponents. Don't pick an opponent that's too hard for you to handle. Pick somebody that's just a little bit better, maybe just a little bit worse. That's where your real learning is going to happen. You pick somebody too big, you're going to go out and get all kinds of injuries. Or, too good for you, you're going to get all kinds of injuries. Pick somebody that's not good enough, you ain't going to learn enough. So anyway, everything you do, baby steps. And I say everything, I mean everything. The way you walk, the way you talk, everything, baby steps. Second principle, apply yourself. You must apply all these principles to get the full power of them. Apply them together. However you can see that you can apply them. And you'll start creating a synergy, and you'll want to apply more of them. Third principle, discipline. Discipline all your actions. Not only in the gym, but from the way you talk, the way you walk, from how you drive your car, to how you're making love, to how you take a bath, how you eat, everything, discipline. The foods that you put in your mouth, discipline your actions. Look at all the great MMA fighters. They always wind up having to start doing food training to get down lower weights, to get their speed up and their health up. Okay, the next thing you need to discipline yourself against is the baby steps violations. Overtraining. You see this all the time. People getting all kinds of staph infections and this kind of infections because their immune systems are broke down because they overtrain. The second violation of baby steps is not training at all. Just resting on talent, like BJ Penn has done and other guys like him have done. Don't rest on talent. Grow your talent. Next principle, attention. You need to get some kind of mental focus training, meditation or something like that. You've got to do it to be competitive at the highest levels. You need to pay attention to everything, from the way you walk to the way you eat, everything. The way you work out, the way you're training, the way you're holding yourself and your presence. Why do you think Anderson Silva's on another level? He's paying attention to everything. And as you pay attention outside of your training, you're bringing that into your training, you're going to be even that much better. Gross experiences dull the mind, while subtle experiences awaken the mind. So don't go around with your radio all cranked up and TV and having all kinds of pleasures all around you all the time. Keep it subtle. Keep everything low key. Turn the TV down just a little bit. Make your awareness a little higher. Why do you think John Jones? He said he was living in the woods. It keeps your senses heightened. So when you're in the ring, you're going to have a little bit split more second. You're going to have more energy. You're going to be more like a wild animal. That's what you want. Principle 5. Question everything. Is there a better way to do this? Is there a better way to do whatever I'm doing? And probably there always is. Can I find a gentler way to do that arm bar? Can you take a little bit of your force out? We seen what happened to Diego. He carrying all that force around with him, and BJ's all nice and loose, and BJ beat him because he's just gentler, basically. So you always want to find a gentler way to do whatever it is you're doing. And question the tension. Say, why do I have that tension in me? That's ego, and just let go of it. And once you feel that letting go, you're like, oh, that's what that guy was talking about. I thought he was a lunatic, but he actually knew what he's talking about. Next question you could ask yourself, are these the best people to train with? Are these your buddies? Are these actually the best guys to train with? It's a difference. Maybe. Am I too comfortable in my gym? If you're too comfortable in your gym, you need to go someplace else where you're not comfortable, where you have to learn new things. People challenge you with new ways of thinking, new ways of being. If you don't, you'll run into a guy eventually who does do that, and you'll get dominated completely. Am I standing in my own way to succeeding? So you need to question everything. These are just a few examples of the questions you need to ask yourself. Obviously, there's plenty more, and you know which questions those are you should be asking yourself, so just ask them. Know your teacher reality. Learn how to learn for yourself. If not, you only know what everybody else knows, which takes away all the competitive advantage. That's why Machida is at an advantage right now, because he knows stuff that other people don't know, and it's hard for him to deal with. So if you can truly learn to learn for yourself, nobody really knows what you know. And maybe it's already been learned, but then again, maybe it hasn't. And you're going to be at such a competitive advantage, you're going to be hard to handle. Next principle, know your enemies, ego and pleasure. You may not believe it, there's only two enemies in this world. You are your own worst enemy. That's a fact. You might have a hard time dealing with it, but it is the truth. And to get over that enemy, all you have to do is be honest with yourself. You can go look at my other blogs, and you can start working on that. I got some. It's under the in the information section to be the Path blog, the Essence of Truth, and you can go down and search how to conquer ego. I've also got one on how to conquer pleasure. Okay, pleasure is weighing you down. It's slowing you down. The pleasurable foods are causing you problems. I'm not saying food's a problem. I'm saying the pleasurable foods are problems. Plain lettuce like this is not a problem. The problem is you're all fancy foods, restaurant food, sweets, candy. You may not believe it's slowing you down, but it is. Music, TV, keeping your mind all keyed up where you can't pay attention to the subtle levels and learn for yourself. It all depends on how great you are, depends on how much you can get over yourself and how many pleasures you can give up. Next, principle 8, seek harmony and peace. A dominant attitude is nothing but ego, and if you notice the best guys, there aren't really that kind of guys. Watch what the number one fighters do and watch their way they hold themselves and the way they treat other people, and you'll see the difference between a champion and a loser. A loser wants to dominate everybody, bully them, be a prick. That's not the way of a champion. Seek harmony and peace. When you're doing your techniques, try to find, like you said, try to find a gentler way to do it. Like a Moriya Shiba, the Aikido. I'm not saying do Aikido per se, but just find gentler ways. There is always a gentler way to dominate another person. Find it, look for it, seek it. The softest way to dominate another person is to help them. Choose growth instead of destruction. So you're a badass. Use it to progress life instead of destroy it. Principle 9, avoid complication. Make your techniques as simple as possible, but no simpler. You can give Einstein the credit for that, because he sort of said that kind of thing. Live simple like a wild animal, or as close as you can to it. Summary, the real power of these techniques, the real power of these principles is using them together to create a synergy of growth within yourself and the people around you. Again, I would like to talk you out of fighting altogether, but if I can't, do your best to be your best at it by using these principles. To read more about the 9 principles of universal growth, or the 9 universal principles of growth, you can visit my blog by clicking the first link in the information section of this video. I will also have a playlist of the applications of growth, which you can just watch them all as they come along, or however you want to do it. Good luck in your training, and may your injuries be kept to a minimum. If you follow this, you will keep them to a minimum. Please rate, and until next Friday, later folks.